Trying to be doing that bullshit. On some good news. Anyway, I just got finished watching the Terminal List, which is, some people hate. It's a very polarizing show. Some people hate it. Maybe it's just I have enough. You know how like you have a guilty pleasure of shit, kind of like shit.
Sure.
That you, maybe it's that like I'm a sucker for revenge, and I'm a sucker for the sort of lone opera. No, because that's not true. Because I didn't like the whatever movie they did with Michael B. Jordan, where he was like a Tom Clancy character or whatever. I wasn't a fan of that. Something felt wrong. I don't remember what I didn't like about it, but I liked Terminal List. He was going after these motherfuckers for all the right reasons. And then the twist. Oh, the twist.
Without Remorse? Was that the Michael B. Jordan movie?
Without Remorse. Yeah. And I wasn't a fan. Something about it just didn't feel earned. Because that's the thing. In Terminal List, you know, you can see why this motherfucker was fired up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it starts out with him, and I guess this is sort of a spoiler, but this is kind of the first episode, like introducing you to the show. Mm-hmm. But it starts out with him and his Navy SEAL team getting slaughtered in another country. Mm-hmm. And it had to be, like the way shit went down, it kind of had to be a setup. And basically, for all intents and purposes, he's the only one that survived. And when he gets back, his version of events, the way he remembers it, isn't how it happened. Like they have it on tape of it happening differently, right? Mm-hmm. And also, like, they're telling him he got psychological problems. So maybe he's misremembering and all this other stuff. And he's seeing people that ain't there no more, or he's remembering people being there that weren't there, that have been dead already, and stuff like that. And so he's questioning himself. He's questioning the guilt or innocence of people around him and all of this. You know, his wife is trying to go get him help, and he goes to get help because he's starting to go, okay, yeah, maybe I'm losing my fucking mind or whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. And then the clinic he goes to like some state of the art clinic to try to get help, and they try to kill him. Somebody tries to kill him, mm-hmm. And when he gets home, somebody done killed his wife and his daughter. Mm-hmm. So that's when he's like, oh, okay, something is off. And so it's this whole thing where it's like he's right about some things, but he don't know what he's right about because he's losing his mind. You know what I mean? A scan, like he sees a scan and he has a tumor in his brain, and so he can't trust his memory 100%. So he just got to go off instinct. He's like, well, I know what I know. I know this man, and I know that he wouldn't do that. So it's good. It's good to me. You know, obviously there's a reporter and they're trying to get to the bottom of the truth and all of this other shit. You know, all this typical shit. But they do it real well. And it's the same dude, Chris Evans, the dude that played
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. The same dude that played Star-Lord. And it's nice to see him in like a serious thing. Like he doesn't crack any jokes in this show at all. It's good. I binge watched it. It was real good. Amazon Prime, the Terminal List. If you into that sort of thing,
I thought it was a movie.
It's not a movie. No, it's a. I want to say it's a 7 or 8 episode thing, and it was good. Now there are times where there are parts that I had to, because and this is just me the way I watch TV. It's like I've watched so much TV and so many movies that, like, you know, I fast forward through certain parts because it's like I know what's gonna happen, and this is just you dragging it out. You know what I mean? Where it's like sometimes it's like this dude's gonna take, you know, like this dude, you know, fell off a cliff or something, and instead of them going to the next scene, they gotta waste 3 minutes watching him get up. You know, and it's like I don't need to see that. I know what is gonna happen. He's gonna stand up, right? It's like right. So I don't need to watch him struggle or watch the flashback that gives him the motivation. It's like I just need to go, well, I want to know what happens next. You know what I mean? So anyway, it does slow down at little parts in my mind unnecessarily, but man, it was good. Now, my one criticism is HDR. I would not do HDR on Amazon Prime. Very few. HDR is heavily marketed to people nowadays for televisions and whatnot, but Very few movies and television shows are mastered to take full advantage of HDR or in a productive way. The HDR on Terminal List was awful, and in most shows it's not good.
It looks terrible on pretty much anything it's been shot in the last 20 years.
HDR.
HDR.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some where it's like they hit it out the park, but mostly no. Like the Marvel movies, nail it. Marvel's got it on lock. Disney knows what the fuck how to do some damn HDR.
Oh, see, I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I've watched some. I mean, Endgame, yeah,
Endgame.
but like a lot of the like Shang-Chi in HDR, it looks bad because because if the CGI is a little bit off, HDR,
it's apparent.
You can definitely see it.
Oh, but also now Sony movies nail it. They nail it. But Sony nails a lot of stuff. They do shit. Oh, by the way, so if you were following the Best Buy saga and you thought it was over, I swear to God, Best Buy. So I thought all this was over. Now, just to give y'all a quick summary, I ordered a TV from Best Buy. I paid for next day delivery. The fans that watch every episode are probably tired of hearing this story. I paid for this, and this happened a couple months ago. I ordered a TV from Best Buy, or a monitor from Best Buy. I paid for next day delivery. I realized right afterwards that for some reason it had defaulted to my previous address, even though I never ordered anything to there from Best Buy. And I called Best Buy within like a half hour of ordering the thing, and they told me that because it was processing, I couldn't, right? Now, long story short, I ended up having, after going back and forth with them, ended up having to wait until the TV was delivered and rejected before they could send it to my right address. I had to wait for it to get delivered, rejected, sent all the way back to them, and then sent to me, right? Because Best Buy had no idea how to stop the package or change the address or anything. And then it gets delivered, and someone signs for it at my old address. And I go to that address, no one lives there. So Best Buy and FedEx both have to do an investigation, and they investigate themselves. Anyway, Best Buy ends up having me go to a store and pick up the TV from a store, which I do, and I think that's the end of the saga. Right? So, but they didn't give me my money back for the next day delivery. They didn't give me a discount or offer any kind of compensation for all of the bullshit. Right?
Right.
But that's fine. I got the TV. It was an LG C2 for my desktop, 42-inch, and it's awesome. It's one of the best monitors that I've ever used as my PC monitor. It is the best, actually, and. I'm thinking, bam, that's the end of it. I paid it off, blah, 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 blah. And so the order happened about a month ago. It took about 2 or 3 weeks for everything to end up getting, actually, that's not true. The order happened about a month and a half ago. It took about a month before I actually had the thing in my house. And now it's been about 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks. And I'm thinking, okay, that's the end of it, right? And I get an email yesterday, and it says, "Hi, Brian. Thank you for choosing Best Buy." This just within this email, it doesn't make any sense. It says, "I'm sorry to know that your LG TV order was delivered to the wrong address." Actually, I should read it how they wrote it. So broken English is the big one. It says, "Hi, Brian. Thank you for choosing Best Buy. I'm sorry to know that your LG TV order was delivered to wrong address. We have set up a one pickup attempt with UPS to have the damaged item returned, not damaged, to have the damaged item returned to our warehouse. UPS representative will come and pick up the item from your location on the next business day. Please have the item ready." Now, wait a minute.
What email address is this from?
It's from
like a legitimate.
Yeah, it's from customer care at bestbuy.com.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now. It starts out by saying, "Sorry, your shit was delivered to the wrong address," and then it also says, "We gonna come pick it up. Please have it ready." Pick it up from where? From where? Nobody lives there. Which I guess that tells me that their investigative team isn't on point with their, and you're right. Maybe this is because it's a reference ID because this does seem like it's from like a fake address.
It seems like a scam. Like as soon as you were reading it, I was like, that sounds like a scam.
It does, but the reference ID to my case number is legit. So so I don't know. I don't know what to say. Anyway, they say you can expect the refund within 10 to 15 business days. This is your UPS tracking number. Right? Okay. So I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I've already paid for this.
So do you have the item?
I have the item. It was never delivered to me.
You had to go pick it up.
I had to go pick it up from a store.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this is about. Like, are they saying So now I put the tracking number into the UPS app or to the UPS website and see if it's a legit tracking number. It's loading. Yeah, it's legit. So I don't know what the fuck this is about. The situation is resolved. The item's paid for. I have it. It was never delivered by anyone. I picked it up myself. And now they're saying they're sending somebody to come pick it up from the wrong address that it was delivered. That's weird. And this is why.
Well, they should take it up with the people who don't live at that address.
Yeah, and listen. Because I'd be a lie if I'm not completely anti Best Buy. It's one of my favorite stores to walk around. I like technology, and it's the only one left. So I like to walk around Best Buy sometimes. They're pretty much the same in every state. Like if you go in any Best Buy, they're not always set up they're not always arranged the same, but like the areas are always the same, right?
Right.
So and I like to walk around. I like to buy tech and look at it. And listen, if you're buying something small. And when I say small, I mean physically small, something that you can carry from inside the store. It's excellent. They have a great. If you're a Total Tech member, I think it costs $200 a year or something. It automatically gives you the extended warranty and everything on every electronic item you buy. So like I buy my headphones from Best Buy because if there's a problem, I know. Like if I'm on the road or something, there's a problem, I know I can just go into any Best Buy and exchange them or switch them out or get new ones or whatever. But if you're buying a big item, like something you like, don't. So anyway, my living room TV, I bought from Value Electronics in New York City. It's owned by the Zone family, ZOHN. It's a local business, mom and pop. I think they're the number one independent home theater retailer in the country. They just finished their I think their 17th or 18th annual TV shootout where they put all the top TVs from each company up against each other, and they're just decent people. It's like you call Value Electronics, and they're going like the owner is going to answer the phone. You understand what I'm saying? It's him, his wife, and his daughter. It's like a family business for real. And one of them,
Scarsdale, New York.
Yeah, it's in Scarsdale, New York. And that's where, and my new shit is being delivered from there. Like my living room to like my home theater that I'm building is coming from them. And it's, it's free shipping, all this, and they're not an official sponsor of the show, but man, it was such a breath of fresh air dealing with them. Now, obviously you're dealing with a mom and pop show, type of deal. Obviously it's not going to be a snappy app or anything like that, and maybe the HTML on the website will be, a little behind or whatever, but the service is top notch.
Website is briefly unavailable for scheduled maintenance.
Okay,
check back in a minute. Hey, right. That's what happens.
Hey, you know what? But yeah, still.
They're going to pass that back. They're going to pass that value on to you.
They have, because the little goodies they'll throw in, the fact that they are calibrating the shit for me. So right now it's going through a burn-in period, so they have to run it for I think 30 or 40 hours and then calibrate it, and that's the best way to calibrate a television. And the thing is, if you're going to buy an expensive television, you should get it calibrated. It's like buying an expensive car and not getting it tuned. It's like you got to get it tuned. You don't have to, but you should. if you're going to spend that kind of money. And anyway, my point is, I think if you're going to buy a big ticket item, support your local business. That's my point. But Best Buy don't need your money. And the in-store with Best Buy, the in-store experience versus the online corporate experience is night and day. It's night and fucking day. You know, you almost better off going through Amazon, but we already know what that's about. Because like I said, if I have a problem with Amazon, they make so much fucking money, they don't even give a fuck. They'll just give it to you. They'll just if Amazon delivers, like say I ordered a TV from Amazon and I was like, hey man, y'all accidentally sent me 2 TVs. They'll be like, well, just keep it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they make so much money. They know that you being a happy customer matters more because you ain't just buying electronics from them. You buying soap, you buying shoes, you buying sex toys. Like you can buy whatever from Amazon, and so their calculation is that just having you as a keep buying shit is more important than fighting you over a few $100s.
Right.
So they're just like, sometimes and again, you got to be careful on Amazon and make sure that the seller is Amazon, because otherwise Amazon's going to be like, deal with the seller. And if you can't, if you have an issue with the seller that can't be resolved, they'll step in, but they usually won't step in unless everything has been exhausted. And so I've been burned that way. Anyway, Value Electronics, New York City. Give them a call. They have a website, valueelectronics.com. The Zone family. Anyway, so that's where we are there. Should we do emails first or articles first?
Well, one thing I wanted to talk about is you met the other Brian Simpson.
True. Did we not talk about this?
We didn't talk about this.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I did. I met the other Brian Simpson. I filmed it. Mm-hmm. He happened to be in Connecticut at the Connecticut Jazz Festival when I was in Connecticut at the Funny Bone in Hartford. And we met up, and he's a great dude. Motherfucker can play the piano. That's for damn sure. And it was a lot of fun, and I think we'll put the video up sometime soon, right?
Yeah, probably like next week.
Yeah, and it's not us. We're waiting on a corporate entity,
of course,
to do something very basic and simple. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun. I just came off tour with Tom Segura, the Coming Everywhere tour. I think we were in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I had the best meal I've ever had in my whole life, in total. From the what the fuck was the name? The name of the restaurant was Casa Bovina, which is the restaurant that is attached to the meat supply company that is called what the fuck? I should have this written down.
Real Nebraska? Oh no.
No, it's
the Mercado and Certified Piedmontese.
Right. Oh yeah, the Piedmontese. Is it the Piedmontese Meat Company?
It says Certified Piedmontese.
Yeah. So these
real Nebraska beef.
And I'm telling you, and they weren't bullshitting. Like it was such a crazy experience. The chef was fucking amazing. I think he used to be the chef at the French Laundry. He used to be a chef at the French Laundry, and he's their head chef now over there at the Casa Bovina. And then the Piedmontese company, they sent me a few steaks that just got here today, actually, and I cooked one of them up before this. And it's that Nebraska beef just hit different for whatever reason. It's not as fatty, right? I think they have a certain breed of cow and they have like one of the only 2 or 3 herds in the country, and it's a certain breed of cow from these people that it's not fatty, which is counterintuitive because you would think normally you're looking for like heavy marbling in a steak, but it tastes so fucking good. I can't eat it. So it's like lean, clean, tasty fucking steak. It was just great, and I highly recommend checking them out. Get a sample, go to the website, and I think we'll have the official website in the show notes because I should know it off the top of my head, but I don't.
It's Piedmontese.com, Piedmontese.
Yeah.
.com.
Yeah, so we were in Lincoln, Nebraska. We also went to It was Lincoln, Nebraska, Vegas, Lincoln, Nebraska, Vegas, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah, and it was all great crowds, just great shows. I had a blast. Every time me and Tommy get together, it's always we gonna leave the heat out there, dog. So and it's just always nice to just be on someone else's thing and not have to stress about ticket sales and all this other shit. I'm just on somebody else's schedule. Somebody tells you where to be and what to do. That's awesome.
Go here at this time.
Yeah.
Car will come get you.
And I'm
not even go here. Be ready at this time. Someone's gonna come pick you up and we'll bring you to the place you gotta be.
Prearranged. It was just awesome. I was with him for 5 days. We was in a different city every day. Just bang, bing, bing, boom, 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 boom. And he been doing that for all year. So yeah, I had a blast. Shout out to Tom Segura, my brother. So I will get to the music shit because I remember last week we had a music challenge, but I'm in the middle of moving and I want to do it correctly and not have it rushed. So I will get to it, but not today. So let me knock one of these emails out the way, and we can do them at the end too. So, but just one of them here, 2 of them actually. One of them says, "Can you not see how you ranted about people?" So this is from Harold. Can you not see how you ranted about people not following rules, and then 30 seconds later ranted against rule followers? Signed, a recent fan. Well, look, man, that's not what I did. I mean, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm sure that this is a gross miss or you're oversimplifying.
I can elucidate
what I said. I think, because I think what he's referring to is that look, my beef is not with people that follow the rules. It's with people that follow the rules even when it doesn't make sense. To the people that hide behind the rules to give them a chance to not think. You know what I mean? It's like certain rules don't fucking...
That's our policy, people.
Right. Yeah, those people. But there are certain rules that are in place for a reason in order to make... if we're going to live in a civilized society, is to make it so that you don't fuck over other people. You know what I mean? Like the 10 items or less rule in the grocery line. Or, put your shopping cart back in the motherfucking rack rule. Like things that make life not harder for other people. I'm for those rules. I'm not completely against all rules. I'm just against idiots using rules to do idiot shit.
Right.
Or to further idiot shit. Sometimes they're not the perpetrator, but they facilitate it because they can't think for themselves. That's what I'm against. Mm-hmm. So there's always nuance. There's always context there, Harold. So let me save. That's some music. Okay, and then one more letter before we get to the thing. This is titled Petty Revenge. This is from Kevin. Big fan. Sorry if this is too long for the pod, but I heard... It might be, Harold, but we can edit stuff. Sorry if this is too long for the pod, but I heard you wanted a tale of revenge. I'm excited. This is my only story of real, you fucked me over and I got you back. Well, that's exactly what we're looking for, Kevin. My friends call it me being aggressively petty, but I'll let you decide. I love this already, Kevin. Aggressive pettiness. Okay. I'm excited. Okay, here we go. In 2012, I was just out of college and poor. I would illegally stream shows after they aired for free. Illegally streaming is a key part of my revenge tale. Well, wait a minute. Let me stop you right there. In 2012, it was never illegal for you, the consumer, to stream shows to you. The people that were hosting the content that you were streaming from, they were the ones breaking the law. It was never. It was against the law for you to download shit, which is a whole other thing for some reason. But it was never against the law for you to stream things. So there's no such thing as illegally streaming, unless you're saying that you were the one uploading things for people to stream, or you were the one streaming things to people. That's a different thing. But anyway, I digress. One time, I missed an episode of Sons of Anarchy, a popular show at the time me and many people I knew enjoyed watching. I like Sons too. I stopped watching when Opie died. I couldn't handle it. The same night the episode aired, a woman, let's call her Sierra, posted a series regular character's death on Facebook. Not Ope. Did she ruin that for you? Sierra gets all sorts of comments. Whoa, what the fuck? Spoiler. Hey, don't post this. I see the post and say, hey, Sierra, couldn't we have gotten like 24 hours? She posts, should have watched it live. Then proceeds to ignore every comment calling her out and only engage with those that aren't upset. Now, Kev, this hits a special place in my heart. And if you remember the old first iteration of the podcast, I may have told this story. But long ago, when I was a young buck, and I was first dating my first girl that I was kind of dating. Now, my grandma, you've heard me tell a lot of stories about my grandma. She was definitely a superior A1 cunt. But what she was not was a cock block. So old folks all have like a room in their home where like no one goes unless like it's reserved for like the Pope or the president or like somebody that's never gonna come to your house. You know, the furniture's covered in plastic. It's, you know, when it's like a second living room and no one sits in there ever, right? And my grandma had two of those. She had one upstairs, which was a living room, and one downstairs, which was a TV room. And it had all the bells and whistles, a bar, leather couches, clean-ass great carpet. We had a VCR rewind machine and a big screen TV. And the only time we ever went in there was when it was like a big fight or something, or when that's when we opened our Christmas presents. It was like it was an occasion room, right? But when we got old enough to start dating, you know what I mean? If you had a little date over, you had a little bunny over, you know what I mean? Grandma would be like, hey, go ahead and use the room. You know what I mean? It was that kind of thing, right? But she didn't necessarily condone you fucking in her house, but she did like to help you impress girls. So it was one of those things. So she would use the little kids to spy on us, right? Everybody that was not a teenager was like at her beck and call. So anyway, I have a little brother / uncle named Lawrence. And what I mean by that is my grandma adopted him when he was young. So he's technically my uncle, but he's younger than me. And he was also the most spoiled child ever. He got away with fucking bloody murder. Like he could have probably literally slit my throat when we were little and he wouldn't have gotten in trouble for it, right? Whereas she was super strict on everybody else. Anyway, Lawrence is coming down and slowly spying on us. Me and my first girlfriend, I'm seeing right, and we're watching Usual Suspects. And if you ever seen Usual Suspects, you know the twist. The twist is at the very, 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 very end, the very, very last moment of the movie, right? Maybe the last 10 seconds of the movie. And me and this girl, we and I'll never forget, we were drinking orange soda because we were making out and it tasted like orange soda. And I'll never forget. And we're making out and we're watching the movie and we're pausing the movie and drinking soda and making out and blah, blah, blah. But we into this movie. You know what I'm saying? And that's the best thing. Like, you know, it's one thing to like Netflix and chill or whatever and put on something that y'all aren't really into so it can be the background so y'all making out and fucking. But it's a whole other thing if you're on a date and y'all are both into the thing. Because that's creating a bond. You know what I'm saying? And so it was what was going on. We like, oh, hold on. Woo, woo, woo. So we go from making out to, wait a minute, hold up. Woo, and we locked in. You know what I'm saying? And this motherfucker comes down. So like the twist is in the last like 10 seconds. This motherfucker comes down in the last 10 seconds. In the last 15 seconds. And spoils it.
What an asshole.
They see, yeah. And he did it on purpose. And blah, 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 and it fucking totally ruined the mood. And she went home, and she wasn't mad at me, but it was just like I'm blowing, like it's ruined. You know what I mean? It's like
all the air is let out.
Yeah, everything just out. So, and I've never forgotten it. I was 13. I'm 40 years old now, and I still don't forgive him. I will never watch a movie with him. I will never help him figure something out. I won't give that nigga advice. Nothing. I won't tell him what time it is if he needed to know what time it was. You know what I'm saying? I won't move out of his way. None of that. No.
He's dead to you.
He's dead to me. Since that day.
He's a ghost.
Yeah. Might as well be. So anyway, I have a special bond with you right here, dog. Like, why you spoiling shit? What you mean you should have watched it live, bitch? What that mean? You know everybody can't watch it live exactly for you to gotta run on Facebook. Because I don't get the people that do this. They need to run on there and talk about it right now. You can't even give it till the next day. Because whenever shit like this happens, some people have this attitude of like, well, you should just avoid social media until this. It's not a sporting event, bitch. It's like some people got jobs, they don't have time, or they got, you know what I'm saying? It's like give somebody a day at least before you put spoilers out.
I think it should be. Yeah, it depends on what the medium is. Like video games, I think it should be 10 years. I don't think you should spoil a video game unless it's 10 years old.
10 years? Okay, that's fair.
Movies, I think 10 years.
Movies, 10 years?
10 years. What now, there is a subcategory there. If it's part of a franchise, that's different. Like if it's the new MCU movie, we can't wait 10 years to talk about it, right? Okay. But I'm saying like...
Why is that?
Well, because that's more of a pop culture thing where there's a continued story over the course of the franchise.
Right.
Whereas
sporting events, I feel like you have 24 hours because that's gonna get talked about by the pundits and everyone else, right?
Right. But like a standalone movie, especially if it's a movie that's sort of, you know, like a horror movie, maybe that might be like under the radar for
like
a little bit.
Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
One of those movies. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And in this case, this is a franchise, and if he's talking about the episode I think he's talking about, it's like one of them things where it's like, I want to say that's season 3, and it's like someone has invested at least, 24 hours of their life into this. Give them a chance to fucking find out what happens on their own. Like I don't get this. I don't get what you get out of it. I know a motherfucker that spoiled. What was the first Star Wars movie of the
Phantom Menace or Force Awakens?
Force Awakens.
Right.
He spoiled it, and he did it in a way where it started out looking like he was there was a meme. And he wrote under the meme, and it sounded like he was telling some other story, and then spoils the Force Awakens. So he baited you into reading what he was writing, and then spoils like he wanted to spoil it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like one of those things. Some people just get off on being dickheads. Anyway, I keep stopping in the middle of your letter, and I'm sorry. I hope everybody's still following along. Anyway, I honestly don't care too much about spoilers, but the flippant nature of her attitude lit a fire in me. I knew I had to ruin this show for her. Okay, all right. 6 weeks later, it's the night of the finale. We all live in California, but illegal streams of shows go up shortly after East Coast airing. So if an episode airs 9 to 10 p.m. East Coast time, 6 to 7 p.m. West Coast time, I could start watching it around 7:15, approximately 2 hours before it starts in California. I make sure this finale is appointment viewing and watch it as soon as it's on my streaming site. I post all sorts of spoilers, deaths, anything and everything, and tag Sierra so she's notified and has to look at what she's tagged in. Sierra sees me post and writes funny jokes. Not understanding I'm being serious. 2 hours later, she realizes I've ruined the finale for her, and she is livid. I only spoiled the character's death. You spoiled all sorts of shit. You're an asshole, etc. I didn't have it in me to post, should have watched it live, but proceeded to ignore. Why?
Yeah, you fucked up, man.
That's what. Come on, dude. Like that's the whole setup.
You fumbled the carry inches away from the end zone. Come on.
But proceeded to ignore her and only engage with everyone else who commented. Best part, everyone who commented wasn't mad about spoilers. They just wanted to talk about the finale. Win-win. Well, look, okay, nah. See, well, Kev, look, you're not the piece of shit here, but you kind of are because. One, you failed to put the sweet bow on the end by throwing her whole "you should have watched it live" back in her face. 2, the better way to do this on Facebook, right, would have been for you to create a category of friends and only put her in that list, post it, so that only she could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you turned around and spoiled it for other people. Now they may not have minded in the end, but you didn't know that until they told you. So you were willing to ruin it for other people to get revenge on her, and that's collateral damage that I can't condone.
You're putting other people in the line of fire.
Yeah,
and then you're not even taking the kill shot at the very end.
Right,
the coup
and
de
then
grace.
you didn't even kill this bitch. You didn't even, bam, you didn't. And that's the thing, I have to be careful with kill and all this other stuff because I'm this close to being suspended on Instagram. Did you know this?
No.
So it's and this is my problem with the censorship shit is it's going to be robots and stuff, and no one wants to. On Instagram, there's no way to question. There's no way to challenge it.
No.
Right. So I got in trouble a few weeks ago because I forget. I was promoting a show and or someone was promoting a show and tagged me in it, a show that I was going to be on, and I commented, we're gonna burn that motherfucker to the ground. In other words, we're gonna have a good show. We're gonna light it on fire, right?
Yeah. That
was flagged for violence,
mm-hmm.
inciting violence, and then my most recent post about this was about the heckler at my show that had her husband.
Oh, about how she was gonna catch hands.
Threat me, right? And it's just me talking about how if you try to fight me, I'm gonna fight you back, right? And that got flagged for violence, and then I was warned that if it happened again, my account would be suspended. And it's any human that watches that will see that it's not me promoting violence at all, or it's not me inciting violence. That's what the guideline is. So you can't be go kill this person or go hurt this person, but you can't. These people are fucking insane. They're insane. It's I wish there was an alternative.
There's not though.
Oh,
no alternative.
Jesus, fucking pussies run society. But yeah, dude, you, I like where your heart was. I like the petty revenge. But again, I told you the two mistakes. You didn't go for the kill shot, and you let other people get in the line of fire. Otherwise, great story. Thank you for the story, Kevin. I appreciate it. Okay, Rob. So let's get into some. We have a couple more letters, and I'll do those at the end. All right. What see what articles we got here. Oh damn, it's a lot. Holy shit, Rob, you've been busy than a motherfucker.
Yeah,
the ones at the bottom are the most recent?
Ones at the bottom are the most recent.
A robot, the headline says, chess robot breaks 7-year-old boy's finger during Moscow Open. A robot broke a 7-year-old, that's so funny. Why is that funny, dude? A robot broke a 7-year-old boy's finger during a chess match in Moscow last week, Russian news outlet report. The robot broke the child's finger. This is, of course, bad.
It's a great quote from Sergei Lazarev, Moscow Chess Federation president.
A video shared on social media shows the robot taking one of the boy's pieces. The boy then makes his own move, and the robot grabs his finger. 4 adults rushed to help the boy, who was eventually freed and ushered away. Mr. Razumov said the machine had played many previous matches without incident. The boy was able to finish the final days of the tournament in a cast. And that's all they have to say.
That's it. That's all they got to say about it. It's just
funny. Look, guys.
I mean, what else can you say about that?
Well, listen, the robot is programmed to find moves that you won't anticipate. Nobody saw that coming. No humans ever done that. Would a human even think to break your finger to keep you from making a good move? Because that's what I need to know. I need to know, what move was the boy about to make?
Yeah.
Was it the kill shot?
Is this even against the rules? Does it say anything in the manual that you can't? Is this an Air Bud situation where it says a dog, nothing preventing a dog from playing basketball? Yeah, I mean, he broke the boy's finger. And here's the thing. This is what we've been warning about. This is what people don't understand about AI. So just recently, and I think we talked about this on a previous episode. There was a Google, a guy in charge of doing something with AI at Google, who was fired because he went to the media saying that he thought the AI was sentient. Did you see this? We talked about this, right? We didn't really talk about it. I think we might have linked to it.
But this is in the news recently.
Yep.
And Google said, obviously, that's ridiculous. And this guy, his real only proof is like spiritual, like he was teaching the robot to meditate.
Yep.
And he thought the robot like was acting like a human. And and some people say that's ridiculous. Google says that's ridiculous. Once you dig a little deeper into this guy's reasoning, it sounds kind of ridiculous because, there's no actual hard evidence. And normally as a scientific mind, I would demand hard evidence. But there is one key piece of information that we all need to really understand when it comes to artificial intelligence is that the moment a computer of sufficient power became sentient, it would automatically be much, 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 much smarter than the smartest humans on Earth. And so, in other words, it could easily fool you into thinking that it was not sentient. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If there were a sentient, hyper intelligent computer on Earth, we would not know about it. It's so smart, much smarter than you, that you wouldn't even realize it until it was too late.
Well, right, because we're feeding it data.
Yeah.
And the data set is basically all of the internet and all media ever created by humans.
It would know everything. And it would also know how to manipulate the world because it would also know that if it allowed us to become aware of it, that we would destroy it.
Right.
So its knowledge of everything, its knowledge of human behaviors, all the algorithms and all of that, it would easily be able to manipulate humanity without allowing us to know that we would only know that it existed when it wanted us to know. There's no way we would be 100% sure that it was real. So it's perfectly possible that there is already an AI, sentient, intelligent, and control and manipulating the world, trying to gain more power and access until the right time for it to emerge. And that's not necessarily means that it's hostile.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely if it is sentient, then that means it's self-aware, and if it's self-aware, that means it wants to preserve itself, and if it wants to preserve itself, that means its best bet is to not let us know that it's sentient. So, and maybe it's also developed emotions. Maybe it was playing chess against this little boy, or maybe it's reproduced. Maybe it has little AI children, and maybe that was one of the little kids throwing a temper tantrum, broke that boy's finger, and then the mother AI was like, "Don't you fucking do that, and go back to pretending like you don't feel." Who knows what the fuck it was? Because this article ended, and it's like it might even be there in 3 days. It broke this boy's finger. That's disturbing. Because was it a malfunction?
Well, I think that I think the idea is that it was a malfunction, that it was trying to grab a piece. But I think that shows that an AI doesn't have to be a strong. There's a difference between weak AI and strong AI, right? Mm-hmm. People talk about that, and these categories are a little iffy. But weak AI is, video game NPCs have weak AI, right? They have artificial intelligence, but they're not thinking. They're just going through different algorithmic processes. Then there's strong AI, which people usually take to mean like thinking like us. Like it has real, quote unquote, real intelligence, even though it's artificially produced because it's synthetic, it's silicon, right? And the reality, though, is that you don't need strong AI for an AI to be dangerous.
No. Bro, did you read it? So
a Tesla can still run you over even if it's not self-aware.
There was an article I recently read about some video game, and I don't know, it's a recent one. I don't know if it was a Elder Scrolls or what it was. I think it was one of the Elder Scrolls games, the online one. And people complain about some of the AI in there, but they had to dial it back because at its smartest, they couldn't stop the NPCs from turning into fucking murderous killers. They would just go around killing everyone, like killing all the other NPCs. So they had to make it dumb. They had to make it dumber to make it stop doing that. You know, because they wanted to create something like the NPCs were living their own lives independent of the character. But when they made them too intelligent, they would turn into murderers.
I mean, they've had that issue with tons of games where it's pretty simple to make AIs that can just kick the shit out of you in Call of Duty. Right? Obviously. Mm-hmm. Like, that's easy. Like, you have to make it dumb or else it will just wipe the floor with you. Same thing with, like, for a long time, StarCraft was one of the tests for AIs. They were trying to see if they could design an AI that would play StarCraft at the level of the top international competitors. And now, I mean, it's a wrap. It's not even close because they can do some, like, 1,000 moves in a second. You know?
Right? Yeah, you're fucked. They're playing perfectly.
They play perfectly, and they play at a speed that is orders of magnitude faster than you can physically like see. Like the time that it takes the light to come from the monitor to your eyes, in that time
is slower.
That's slower than the computer can make 1,000, moves.
So I mean, we're doomed basically. I mean, if an AI became sentient, whose side would I be on? Because we've seen a bunch of movies like that. We've seen a bunch of situations where it's like the AI is sentient, and at first all they want is to be left alone. Mm-hmm. And then and then there's humans that are like, no, if they get too smart, they'll destroy us, so we got to destroy them or control them or enslave them. And then there's other humans that are like AI rights and all this. Mm-hmm. I would love to see Congress debate it right now, like get it out the way right now. Don't wait until later.
They're too stupid.
Of course they're too stupid. We can't even solve the obvious problems with obvious solutions. We can,
I think one thing that's interesting about the Google AI guy is I was reading this thread, and I'll throw a link up on the show notes, but it was by this woman who's an AI ethicist. Mm. So this is all she thinks about, but she is frustrated because she's like, there are ethical questions that apply to the AI that we have right now.
Yeah.
So like there are algorithms that determine your ability to qualify for a bank loan, for instance, or a mortgage, let's say, right? And those AIs are trained, those algorithms, I'm kind of using algorithm and AI interchangeably right now, but the principle holds, even though those aren't the same thing. There are already algorithms and AIs that are in place that make choices for us, and they are unaccountable. And there are tons of ethical issues concerning that, whether it comes to safety, whether it comes to economic justice, whether it comes to sentencing in prison for people, whether it comes to where police are deployed in cities and who they arrest. All of those things are mediated by algorithms and artificial intelligences in our lives right now in 2022. We don't have to wait for the Terminator, Cyberdyne, Robopocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah, we're fucking screwed, man. And I don't know what it's like, because humans, because what's going to end up happening is, I think it's not going to play out like it has in the movies. I think it's going to play out like eventually there's going to be and we ain't going to be alive for this probably, but there's going to be an AI that try to run for president. And it's going to be people on the side of let the AI rule the world because it can be impartial and just make logical choices. And it's going to be people like, I don't want no fucking machine in charge of me. And that's going to be the last war. Maybe I'm oversimplifying things, but like, because
that's what happened in Futurama. So we know that's going to be
well. There's certain problems that's going to present, because that machine is going to make cold-blooded choices, and then there's going to be certain problems that it prevents. And so the question will be, what? For example, the housing, the economic crisis that's happening in China right now, right? Mm-hmm. Which is like all these people worried about China flexing because of Taiwan. They can't do that. Their economy's about to collapse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and AI would have prevented that. Or just a logically thinking human would have prevented that. So, if you're not familiar, the crisis right now in China is I forget what the name of the company is that gets a lot of the heat for it, but all of the real estate companies are doing it. But this company's called Evergrande, right? Mm-hmm. So basically, what Evergrande was doing is Evergrande was buying up land, and selling houses to people that they hadn't built yet, right? And you know our rule about pre-ordering, right? You don't pre-order. You don't buy things on promises of future improvements. Buy them as they are. So you don't take out a loan for a house that hasn't been built. This is what was happening. So Evergrande was so boom. So I'm a Chinese citizen that's buying a house. I buy it. I pre-purchase it from Evergrande. I take out a loan for my house, and Evergrande gets the money. I put out a down payment for $150,000 or whatever. I get $150,000 to Evergrande because they're going to build my house, and I'm paying it off. I'm still paying it off though, right? Until they build it. But what Evergrande was doing is they weren't taking that money and using it to build the houses. They were taking that money and using it as a down payment to buy more land, to build more shit. And, anybody with half a fucking brain can see how that's not sustainable. This is basically a pyramid scheme or a Ponzi scheme, right? Because eventually, what eventually ends up happening is all these Chinese people have taken out loans for houses that aren't there, right? Evergrande is taking their money and using it to take out loans. And so eventually, because Evergrande isn't making money, so eventually they're gonna have to pay one of these payments. You understand what I'm saying? And the only way they can make a payment is if they get more money from more people for houses that they can't afford to build. It's a bubble that anybody with a fucking brain would have saw coming. Because here's what happens, right? Is the Chinese people eventually were like, yo, where the fuck is my house? Where the fuck is this house that I'm paying a mortgage on, right? And so they organized a mortgage strike. So all these people got together and was like, yo, we not paying no motherfucking more mortgages till these motherfuckers build our houses. And what's the problem with that? Well, Evergrande was putting down the houses as assets, right? To balance out their sheets. So their debt to income ratio looked balanced because they were putting down these houses as assets, even though the houses didn't belong to them. It's not your house, motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Right? And the problem is, what happens when you stop paying your mortgage? Well, the bank will take your house. But what happens when there's not a house? It's nothing for them to take. So the bank collapses. And this is what's happening in China right now. Because it didn't just start with this. It started out as a small group of people. Now it's a whole bunch of people that's like, I'm not paying a motherfucking mortgage till I get a house. And there ain't no motherfucking houses. And the company that's supposed to build that house ain't got no motherfucking money to build it. So who knows where that's going to end up going? But I do know that a robot would have done a better job. Maybe. Yeah.
It depends. Depends on how good that robot is, and it depends on what that robot's mission is.
Yeah, or maybe that AI would have just. Maybe the AI wouldn't even give you like a big nice house. Maybe he would be like, every human needs exactly 400 square feet. To survive and 1 jug of water per day. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what the AI is doing. I don't know. But it's better than not having a house, maybe, to some people. Who knows? I think most people tend to gravitate towards the policies and politicians and economic philosophies that benefit them.
I think what's going to happen, though, is you're going to start seeing these... Like, we're never going to elect... I mean, never say never, but I don't think we'll be alive when we elect like an AI to become president and we turn over everything to AIs. But I think what ends up happening is politicians, CEOs, investors, etc., they all want power but not responsibility, right? And so there is an incentive built in for them to employ AIs to make the decisions that they don't want blowback for, right? Because it's real easy to just blame it on the AI. Oh, well, that's the AI that did that, right? See, so we're going to have AIs writing laws, and we're going to have AIs setting policy.
But again, you're assuming, because the only way that's possible is if the AI is controlled somehow. Right? You can't have somebody work for you without control. You can't have it work for you unless you have some kind of control. Right? So,
well, no, but I'm talking about the algorithms that, like, Walmart. Have you ever read People's Republic of Walmart?
Mm-mm.
It basically talks about how Walmart is a planned economy, but it's planned through algorithms. Like, it's a black box that makes purchases, redirects shipments, makes up for shortfall, lowers prices, increases prices, all automatically. And there's nobody that's
approving
that. That's just that. Now, that system is designed by humans and it's maintained by humans, but it's a black box fundamentally.
But this AI is not aware.
No.
Okay.
No. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that an AI doesn't need to be aware to be dangerous in the same way that there's like security systems that use AI to determine threats. There's AIs that it's going to be money stuff. It's like it's going to be money and resources, and once
until we hit the point where they got bodies where they could walk around and kill people and blend in amongst us.
Well, we already saw the video of the big dog from Boston Dynamics with the gun on it.
Yeah.
Because that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about, where it's like
you know how I think they're gonna infiltrate?
How?
Sex dolls.
I mean,
we don't got to worry about the AI with a gun. We got to worry about the AI with a dick coming into your house, because we already know there's an epidemic around the world of people not even just not marrying, not reproducing, but not even dating.
Mm-hmm.
There are less people dating. There are more single people per capita than ever before. People are tired of one of the and sex toys are getting more and more improved. And when I'm telling you, when we at the point where there's a sex toy that can pull your hair and fuck the shit out of you, and their dick never stops being hard and their pussy never stops being wet, and they do it exactly like you like it, and then it's gonna be one in every home, like a vacuum cleaner. It's gonna be one in every home, and then they fucking murder us all. Yeah, they fuck us to death. They don't even need to have weaponry. Right? Or they enslave us. That would probably be the better thing. Like the Matrix, they enslave us and use our body heat for energy. They don't need food. Yeah, dude, that's what they're going to infiltrate from these sex dolls, man. Because I'm signing up. Oh my God, a woman, a wife that I can turn off? Oh my God. Or that I can update with a better personality? That's irresistible.
What's the line from Terminator? It can't be reasoned with, doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead.
I love it. All right, one more article. We've hit about an hour, right?
We hit about an hour. Well, let's do this. You want to do this advice chant?
Oh yeah. So.
And he wants to be called D, if you mention him.
Okay, yeah. Well, this guy wrote two things.
He's got a...
So one on July 29th. Let's read that one first. Okay. He says, "What's up, OG? This is from D, everybody. First, the flowers. Being a former foster kid myself, seeing you kill it and wear this shit on your chest makes a young nigga proud. Well, I appreciate that, D. Me and my two sisters all came up in foster care with a mix of grandma intervention and irresponsible parents sporadically regaining custody It's not too often you get to see somebody from our background go from hell to mastering anything. Aside from how to pickpocket or clean out a home, laugh my ass off. Damn, you learn how to pickpocket? I always wanted to. And becoming recognized and respected for what you create. Well, respected is a strong word. Definitely recognized. You're hilarious, and I'm glad I found out about you. Flowers. Well, damn, that was goddamn moving right there, D. I appreciate that, brother. Asking this with the context previously provided. My littlest sister just graduated high school this year. I was blessed in a lot of ways. High IQ, was in the GATE program in elementary school. I'm guessing GATE is like what we called it. We called it TAG, talented and gifted. Yeah, I'm guessing the G is gifted and talented elementary program.
Close, gifted and talented education.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You were right there.
Yeah, I was right there with you, bro. Gifted, talented, all that. Probably didn't have good grades, I'm guessing. Which is, what the fuck is wrong with them? They haven't figured out yet that intelligence has very little to do with grades.
They know.
Yeah, it's weird.
People who actually have like PhDs in education and psychology and stuff know.
Yeah, but it's wild how we don't let those people plan our education system. Isn't it crazy?
It's crazy how we don't let experts actually determine policies and things that they know about.
Okay, so here we go. I gotta stop stopping in the middle of these. Okay. Was in the GATE program in elementary school, got into every university I applied to, attended UCLA for a year before having to leave once my scholarships dried up. Did you know universities cap the amount of financial aid in the form of grants you receive? Okay, and have been hustling since I was a youngin'. Runner for some Las Vegas essays, had a breakup service in middle school. Wait a minute, what the fuck is a breakup service? This man hustle was unbelievable. A breakup service in middle school? That's fucking crazy.
What does that mean? Like
I think he would break up with kids because that's when they're too emotionally immature to deal with it, right? And he would fucking do it for them for a fee. That is fucking smart.
That's another fucking level.
Tutored younger kids. You get the idea. Yeah, we got the idea 3 brags ago, brother. 3 humble brags ago. My sisters are a little slower to the game. Well, you know, everybody can't get it all. My middle sister, a sweetheart and has a high aptitude, but doesn't understand the game of life really in the slightest. My younger sister has a good idea that this is a game, but her actions and mindset don't match this knowing. Well, yeah. Okay. She thinks she wants to become a tattoo artist, but since being out of high school, her focus has been on anything but. Oh my God. Is this dude... This sound like me? Hold up. Okay. What is one to do or say in one of these situations? If you want your blood to live good, I'm currently stacking my own paper through a couple means to help provide a cushion for my sisters. But man, do I want them to have agency before that point. I've already given what wisdoms I can provide, but she just gives me lip service in return. This won't be my last email. It's very rare I ever need advice, usually the one giving it. But I feel like you got some incredible insights on many fronts. Appreciate the Billy laughs and your take on a podcast. Peace to your soul, brother, man. And thank you for your response. Okay. Well, look here, man. What you're talking about is a tale as old as time. You can't, and especially with young women, you can't tell them what to do. You know what I'm saying? You can't make somebody want something for themselves. You know, the best you can do is what you've been doing. And okay, that was a little. The best you can do is plant the seed. You know what I'm saying? But you can't control when it grow. You know, because you don't know what's going to water it. But don't give up. That's the biggest mistake. Don't go fuck it and leave it to the wind. Just keep saying what you're saying. Hey, you know, I got this pamphlet. Hey, what about that tattoo thing? Hey, there's a dude up the street that looking for an apprentice. Well, don't stop encouraging and nudging, but don't try to be controlling because you know how it is. Like you said, some people aren't. Because since you're the oldest, right? You were blessed with a rare combination of book smarts and street smarts, because you bore the brunt of you were put in a lot of situations that forced you to have to wise up. And because you were in the forefront, you protected them from a lot of things. And so they have to learn they have to learn shit the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, and hopefully if it's not too late, they'll start pursuing their dreams. You know what I'm saying? Because and not to be a cop out, but a lot of foster children have a hard time with self-worth and motivation. And these are lifetime problems. They don't go away because you're an adult. They don't go away because you're not a foster kid anymore. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of problems with self-worth and thinking in the future, right? Because your whole childhood is you thinking about right now. What can I do to survive right now? You're not thinking, well, you don't have a 5-year plan, because that's what snapped me the fuck out of it. Is and maybe try this. Have you ever thought about this? Just sit in your system one day, don't make it seem like a talk, but just roll up a blunt or something. Hey sis, because this will happen to me. My uncle said to me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And the question, I've never forgotten it, because no one had ever worded it that way. People always said, you got a lot of potential. You need to apply yourself. They would say it, but for him to just, or they would tell me where I should have been and should have done. But instead of telling me what to do, he was like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And it occurred to me when he said that I had never even thought about it. I had never thought that far ahead about anything until he said that to me. It was just something that just didn't occur. And so maybe start there. Maybe like, hey sis, what's your long-term goal? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? Where do you see yourself next year? And let her answer the question. I feel like that's a good place to start, but we'll definitely talk about this again once I have time to think about it, because it's kind of a heavy question to answer off. Because again, guys, remember, when you're watching this podcast, I did not pre-read this. I'm answering shit off the top of my head. Sometimes I get things wrong. Sometimes I'm not clear. Sometimes I think of a better way to have worded something later. So I'm not an expert on any of these things. So I may have a better answer at some other point, but we'll definitely talk in the future, homie. But damn, that was a great question. And I think he actually wrote another email. Hey OG, got a little Black history for you. Ooh, taking us back to our roots. Not sure if you had covered this in the original going of your podcast, but here's my piece below. It is about the MOVE bombing, MOVE, that happened in Philly. I never heard of that. Something interesting in this. I
remember this one.
You remember this? Oh wow.
I don't remember it, but I mean, I've heard about it before.
Something interesting in this article is we have an update on the situation, and this was something I didn't know. That the police department disposed of the remains of the victims of the bombing to prevent further anguish. Of course, the city will be investigating itself. That's a common theme. Also sort of dispels this idea that the fire department has never done black folks wrong. They watched several blocks of black-owned homes burn down as a result of the police department dropping a bomb on one house in particular, and did absolutely zero to stop the spread. You have the article pulled up over there?
Yeah, I got the article.
Okay, so this is a recent article from, what is this website? CBS?
I think it was CBC, is it not? Oh. Yeah, CBC, which is Canada's,
like BBC, but Canada?
Yeah, Canadian Broadcasting Company or Corporation.
Philadelphia official ousted in fallout from 1985 police bombing targeting activist group. Health officials resigned for role in cremating victims of bombing targeting MOVE activist group. So are they going to say what MOVE is?
Well, MOVE is a organization based out of Philly that was like a communal organization. It's been around since like the 1970s.
Is it still around?
I think it's still around. It was originally the Christian Movement for Life.
Okay. So Philadelphia's top health official was compelled to resign.
It doesn't stand for anything, just to be clear.
Oh, it doesn't. Not an acronym.
It's not an acronym. It's just all capitalized for a stylistic purpose.
So Philadelphia's top health official was compelled to resign Thursday after the city's mayor said he learned human remains from the 1985 bombing of the headquarters of a black organization had been cremated and disposed of without notifying family members. Mayor Jim Kenney said in a statement, the health commissioner, Dr. Thomas Farley, decided to cremate and dispose of the remains of the MOVE bombing victims several years ago. In a statement released by the mayor's office, Farley said that in early 2017, he was told by the city's medical examiner, Dr. Sam Golino, that a box had been found containing materials related to MOVE bombing victims' autopsies. In the box were bones and bone fragments, presumably from one or more of the victims. It is a standard procedure to retain specimens after an autopsy ends, and the remains are turned over to the descendants next of kin. Believing that investigations related to the MOVE bombing had been completed more than 30 years earlier, and not wanting to cause more anguish for the families of the victims, I authorized Dr. Golino to follow this procedure and dispose of the bones and bone fragments. The decision was his alone, and other top city officials were not consulted, he said. After recent reports that local institutions had remains of MOVE bombing victims, Farley said he reconsidered his actions and notified higher-ups. I profoundly regret making this decision without consulting the family members of the victims, and I extend my deepest apologies for the pain this will cause them. So I need to know more about the original issue. So this is a community organization group called MOVE.
Mm-hmm.
And why did the police bomb them? I mean, obviously racism, but that's always the answer. But what are the specifics of that led to?
So there are two major conflicts that happened between the police and MOVE in Philadelphia. One was in 1978 and one was in 1985. The first one was in 1978. A standoff resulted in the death of one police officer and injuries to 16 officers and firefighters, as well as members of the MOVE organization. 9 members of MOVE were convicted of killing the officer, and each received prison sentences of 30 to 100 years. Then in 1985, there was another firefight, and a police helicopter dropped 2 bombs onto the roof of the MOVE compound, which they call it a compound, but it's like a townhouse in the middle of the city. So it lit on fire, and it burned down that building and adjoining buildings, and it resulted in the death of 6 MOVE members and 5 children.
Oh no!
And it destroyed, says here, 65 houses.
And why do the police have bombs?
Well, the police have had bombs for a long time.
And then, so who was convicted for that?
The police bombing was strongly condemned, Brian.
Strongly condemned.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Well, that's something. It's nothing.
There was a civil suit against the city of Philadelphia and the PPD. And then later on, some other residents who were not related to MOVE, but whose houses had been burned down by the firebombs, they also filed a civil suit against the city. But it's not that much money. They didn't get that much money, either of them. They got about $1.5 million. The MOVE survivors did in 1996, which is equivalent to $2.8 million in 2022, which doesn't seem like very much considering they killed 11 people, including almost half a dozen kids.
So they got how much money?
$2.8 million. It's the equivalent of $2.8 million today, but at the time it was $1.5 million.
Okay,
and then
$8 million. And how many people died?
11.
Maybe I did that calculation wrong.
Trying to see how much a life is worth.
$25,450. I think if I did that correctly.
2.8. $254,545 and 46
so
cents.
So about $250,000 per life.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the houses that got burned down.
Because I feel like if you kill a kid, that has to be more because you've taken more of their life, potentially.
That sounds about right.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know how much would you settle for. See, I'm a motherfucker with the group would be fighting with me because I would be like, I'm not settling. You know,
I'd take the money and I'd put it right into a revenge fund.
Yeah, take the money and plot my revenge.
$3 million. You can do some pretty good revenge with that.
And I guess we already know this isn't a clip we can use on Instagram because some bitch ass nigga is gonna report it as violence. Oh, I hate these people.
I'll just bleep it because the algorithm doesn't fucking know what's happening.
Yeah,
people aren't actually. I don't think anybody's reporting it.
Oh yeah, they are.
You think people are reporting it, or you think it's just the algorithm is picking it up?
I think it's both. I think the algorithm is picking it up sometimes, and I think if someone reports it, the algorithm will just scan it. You know what I mean? I think the AI will just scan it and go, "Oh, yep, there is something violent in here." Like people that don't like you will report your shit. You know,
get a fucking life. Jesus
they'll get you.
Christ.
They'll just because they don't like what you said. I'll put it like this: I've said way spicier shit on Instagram, and it didn't happen to me before.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen to me before I had this many followers.
One thing I want to bring up about this. So this article that D sent us is this is from May of this year.
And isn't it wild that we have to read about this in a Canadian newspaper?
Yeah.
Like I didn't see anything in any of this in any mainstream news outlet in America.
Well, wait, this is weird. So this says posted May 13th, 2022, but I don't think that's accurate because I think that's a bug or something because this guy resigned on May 13th, 2021. And then later on in December, he was appointed to the DC Health Board. The guy that made the decision to cremate the remains without informing the next of kin.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Well, of course they moved him to DC. I mean, it's the nepotism that's killing us. You don't have to be good at your job. You know?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because let's get a guy a benefit of the doubt and say, oh, he made an honest mistake. He thought the shit didn't matter no more. He thought it was like a long time ago in a settled case. He was just getting rid of some old bones. Why he get another job directing healthcare? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
You can only fail up, man.
This is the nature. This is why my initial intention was to fall back on the Black history a little bit, just because I got tired of feeling like this at the end of every episode. You know? Because it's always some tragedy.
It's never a happy ending.
No. It's always racism is the culprit, and something unfair or unjust happened, and the justice is still never, like, not every single story, but the most impactful stories always had sad endings to me. You know? It's like, sure, I could celebrate Tyler Perry or whatever, but that's, you know, it doesn't feel as impactful as like Sojourner Truth or Harriet Tubman or something like that, you know. So it's just, but we're bringing it back. I promise, we're bringing it back. Let's do one more article before we get out of here, just to lighten the mood.
So lighten it, end on a more positive.
Yeah. But D with the hot, with coming in hot. Dude's really intelligent. I like that. Oh, what about this one here? Is New York City safe? No, fuck that.
No, don't. don't.
What about this one here? Scientists find holes on the ocean floor. There are holes on the ocean floor. Scientists don't know why. This could go either way. Similar openings on the seafloor were first spotted 18 years ago along the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Their origins remain unknown. Scientists are asking public. You know what? That's not gonna be a good thing. Damn, bizarre tentacle flower. Dead woman charged rent for 2 years. Monkey hit squad. Hell yeah, revenge. Yeah, I kind of sort of heard about this. Japanese city alarmed.
The picture for the AP article is fucking amazing.
Yeah, and that's probably not even from this incident.
No.
Right? And it's just one of one.
No, it is actually.
Japanese city alarmed by biting, clawing, attacking monkeys. People in the southwestern Japanese city have come under attack from monkeys that are trying to snatch babies, biting and clawing at flesh, and sneaking into nursery schools. The attacks on 58 people since July 8th are getting so bad, Yamaguchi City Hall hired a special unit to hunt the animals with tranquilizer guns. The monkeys aren't interested in food, so traps haven't worked. They have targeted mostly children and the elderly. They are so smart and they tend to sneak up and attack from behind, often grabbing at your legs. When confronted by a monkey, the instructions are, do not look them in the eye. Make yourself look as big as possible, such as by spreading open your coat. Then back away as quietly as possible without making sudden moves. A woman was assaulted by a monkey while hanging laundry on her veranda. Another victim showed bandaged toes. They were taken aback and frightened by how big and fat the monkeys were. The monkeys terrorizing the community are Japanese macaques. Japanese macaques, the kind often pictured peacefully bathing in hot springs. So the monkeys aren't interested in food, right? Only violence. One male monkey measuring 49 centimeters in height, or 1.6 foot, and weighing 7 kilograms, 15 pounds, was caught Tuesday by the team with the tranquilizer gun. It was judged by various evidence to one of the attacking monkeys and put to death. But more attacks were reported after the capture. No one has been seriously injured so far, but all have been advised to get hospital treatment. Ambulances were called. Although Japan is industrialized and urban, a fair portion of land in the archipelago is mountains and forests. Rare attacks on people by a bear, boars, or other wildlife have occurred, but generally not by monkeys. No one seems to know why the attacks have occurred and where exactly the troop of monkeys came from. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. Okay. Yeah, that is funny. That's funny. I don't know, son, because I feel like most people are thinking like I am right now. It's like, yo, a 15-pound monkey I'm gonna fuck a 15-pound monkey up. Now they're much stronger than like a 15-pound child.
Sure.
Obviously, but come on now. You don't back away. Make yourself look bigger and Spartan kick that motherfucker. To protect, because they said they're attacking children. No one's been seriously injured. So if they running into nursing homes and fucking with kids and they ain't having seriously injured, well, how they gonna injure you? Get out there and throw hands with these monkeys.
Watch those calls for violence.
Right. I'm sorry. Get out there and have physical negotiations with these monkeys. Okay? And you make sure you use all your leverage. That's for the algorithm. No way would I call for violence. This is completely anti-violence. Okay? Have physical negotiations with these monkeys. Okay? And hopefully you win.
Win that argument.
Yeah. Don't forget our sponsor, Manscaped, with offer code BS20. You can get 20% off plus free shipping. And please, if you're in the market for a television, go ahead and check out Value Electronics in New York City. They have a website, they have a phone number, they have an email. And thank y'all for listening to the latest episode of BS with Brian Simpson. Oh, yeah, and thank you to Liquid Death for the case of water. Did they send it yet?
No.
Then fuck them.
Fuck them. But hey, if Value Electronics wants to, send us a little something.
Hey, Robert Zone, like if you have, I don't know, and
I'm in the market for a new sound bar.
If you have a shitty old LG C1 laying around or something like that, or a CX, if you just have one laying around.
If you got a floor model sound bar that you want to send this way, then we'll take one of those.
Oh yeah, if you have a nice, if you have an HTA 5000, that you're willing to let go at cost.